Welcome back to Creating Stuff. Today in the shop, I'm still working on the tilting trailer. I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a link somewhere in this video so you can watch the previous video where I converted it from a manual tilting trailer to a power tilting trailer. So we're still working on that trailer for a friend of mine. And although I'm standing in front of Inferno, I wish I was working on this truck, but I'm not. But what we're doing is this right here. This is a fork attachment that goes onto a quick connect fork attachment that goes on a tractor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mount on that trailer for these forks. So meaning you can slide them into a frame, unlock it, secure them down, and then you can still load other stuff on the trailer. So I'll tell you what, I gotta get a few measurements on this, and I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna show you what my plan is. Now that I got some measurements off the fork attachment outside, I got some measurements taken, and now we gotta figure out how and where is gonna fit on this trailer. So now the one thing I'll touch on here is there's a lot of misconception when it comes to the engineering process or anything like that when you build something. And because unfortunately a lot of times they expect it that, you know, you're just supposed to know the answer. You're just supposed to know the answer right away. But the reality of it is, how do you know the answer unless you ask the right questions? So although I'm very smart, I know a lot about how things work, like working with equipment and things like that. I know a whole lot of how they work, and that's just where part of storing these forks come in. Is I've seen it done before, and it makes a lot of sense because I'm going to make a subframe that's going to go underneath the edge of this trailer, so the forks can slide in there. They don't take up deck space. Basically, he can slide them in, secure them, then he can put a bucket on the tractor. So he can carry the bucket and the forks and not take up any additional deck space. So, and they'll be secure, safe position to move them. So that makes a lot of sense. But here's where the trick comes in. Although I know a lot, this isn't my trailer because I was originally thinking about putting the forks on the driver's side. But if you ask the right questions, because first and foremost, since this trailer is not for me, I need to ask the owner what side of the trailer he would like them on. So, because I was just working on the assumption that it was going to be on the driver's side or road side of the trailer, because, you know, if you're parked on a curb or wherever, I mean, you can drive around the road and all this, that, the other. But when I asked him, I was like, well, what side of the trailer do you want it on? He said, passenger side. I was like, okay. Well, just out of curiosity, why'd you pick the passenger side? He says, well, where I live, I park on the street a lot, and I park on the street in front of my house, and my tractor and all the attachments are stored in my backyard, and I can't get the trailer back there. So the reality of it is, when I load the trailer to take my tractor and some of my equipment places, I load from the passenger side. So once again, so that's where the whole I was like, well, that makes a whole lot of sense. But the biggest thing is what works for him. So so once again, so I asked the right questions, so, and understood, hey, what side is going to go on. Now, as you can see right here, I have it laid out. I have laid out with tape. This is the center, and this is the rearmost and forwardmost point of where the fork attachment is going to be. So I just laid that out, and the reason, first and foremost, I picked the passenger side or curb side because the owner of the trailer, that's where it works best for him, first and foremost. Now, and that spare tire up there is movable. So you can't see the spare tire, but hold on, let me see if I that right there, that spare tire is movable. Like I said, it comes out of the stake pocket. So, but the reason I am putting it back here versus up there is because if I keep the weight closer to the axles, then it makes it easier to get the tongue weight right. If I put the forks all the way forward, like I say, he's going to have naturally more tongue weight if it was just the forks and the trailer was empty. And like I said, his load, he'd probably have to move it back a little bit. So it makes a lot of sense to put it right here. I'm going to take you to the other side and show you something that is actually pretty good. I asked the question and asked him which side he wanted on, because if I put it on the driver's side like I originally planned on, I'm going to show you stuff I got that would have gotten in the way. So let's take a walk on the other side. So where I'm putting it over there, I could not put it over here because it would interfere with this, the manual lock for the tilting deck. And even if I did put it here, it would push it so far out, the forks would stick very far beyond the axles, which is not a deal breaker, but just not the best. Which all the measurements I've done, the forks, when they're fully locked down on the other side, they should not extend past the tires. So if I put it on the driver's side, I would only be able to put it up here. So once again, that would create more tongue weight, especially if the trailer was empty. So once again, truly not a deal breaker. It will work. Not the best, but it will work. So, but once again, put it on the other side of the trailer. That is the best option. I mean, truly, that is the best option. So I've already got the measurements. So I'm going to go cut some square tubing, and we're going to go ahead and get the framework cut out. We're going to tack weld it together, and we're going to make sure it fits over the forks, and we'll keep on going with it. So let's go have some fun. All right, I got some tubing cut for the fork mount, and actually what I'm using is 2" by 4" rectangle tubing, 1/8" wall. This fits over the forks nicely, and then the cross braces that are going to support this, that are going to more or less hold them in place, hold the subframe together, which more or less will be the subframe, while I put it in place and I weld it in place under the trailer, is 2" by 2" square tubing, 1/8" wall. So this should work out pretty well. So I've already got my measurements. I'm going to go ahead and lay them out, tack weld them together, and then we're going to do a test fit on the forks. So let's get to it. All right, all tacked together. Let's go do a test fit. Fits like a glove. This is great. All right, now we'll take it back inside, and we're going to weld it up completely. I got the subframe all welded together, and now I'm going to do another nice little detail. There's a good possibility a lot of other people wouldn't do this. This is the side. This is the side that the forks will slide in. This is going to be completely underneath the trailer. This is going to be sticking out to slide the forks in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a bell-shaped end to these two tubes, and the reason being, so when you slide the forks in, if you're a little bit off, it'll kick them over and help you get them in. So I don't think there's a lot of people that would do this, but I came up with a way. It should be pretty slick. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut to a clip where I'm designing it on CAD. I'm going to go through all that, cut some metal out, and then I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to show you how I'm going to weld them together. Alright, I just got done cutting the plates out that I'm going to make the bell-shaped ends, and it's as simple as it looks, where they're just going to go together somewhat like that, weld them together. Well, it'll be a little bit of a jumble, so I actually made a tool to make this easier. I 3D printed this to hold my pieces in place. Keep in mind, this is plastic. This will melt. It's going to melt, but all I have to do just has to last long enough to tack two of these together. And if it only lasts one, then I'll print another one. So so that should work pretty well. So I tell you what, let's tack this together. As you can see, if I didn't make this little jig to hold it, it'd be quite difficult. But once again, this piece of plastic is guaranteed it is gonna melt. So let's tack this together. Smell the plastic burning. Yep, she melted just as expected, but that actually held together quite nice. You know, got a little bit of gaps to fill, but I can work with that. So let's get the other one tacked together. And then we'll weld them up. Got them both tacked together. My sacrificial plastic mold template, whatever you want to call it, jig, actually worked great. Now this just goes to a landfill, goes trash. Now let's weld these together. Let's weld these up. Not too bad. Tell you what, I'm gonna turn the camera off. I'm gonna weld the other one up, and I'll bring you back when I weld these onto the subframe. I do have to say, I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. That looks good, and that's actually going to be very, very functional. So, if you've never driven a tractor or forklift, you might not understand it. But anyways, that looks good. So now, I just got to finish welding it all in and get ready to mount it underneath the trailer. So I'll tell you what, I'll bring you. You see me do enough welding, I'll bring you back for when I put it underneath the trailer. All right, the original design, this, I am being very honest, and this is very unscripted, because I had a good plan. I had one little oversight. I oversight this cross member and that piece of the lock rod. So I can go ahead and cut this out, redo it, but this is anyways, this is all I lost right here. Maybe like a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. Really not a whole lot. So that's why I couldn't get to go all the way in. And basically my math is with that 1/2 inch, the distance from here to the edge of the tire, if that was a 1/2 inch, the forks would be right at the edge of the tire. So they're going to go like a 1/2 inch beyond. So I think that can work. So I'll just leave it at that. So now I just need to go ahead and tack weld these in place. I just more or less need to weld all this into place and then throw some paint on it. Let's get to it. I do have to say, this doesn't look half bad. You're gonna see I made smaller brackets to hold the inside of the frame, subframe to the frame, and keep in mind those don't have to be nearly as substantial as that or that, because when the forks are in here, the majority of the load is going to be on those right there. Is going to be right there. It's the weight bouncing up and down on the road. So back here, and just the way the balance that the forks are, they tend to lean back. They tend to lean that way. So with that being said, we're not gonna have a whole lot of downward force. Mainly it's going to pull up, which that joint right there has a lot of compression can withstand a lot of compression. It can take a whole lot more tension than one might realize, because I actually got a brace on both sides of that. So this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. So final step is I got to throw some paint on this, take it outside, and see if it works. So why am I sitting here talking to myself or you or wherever? Let's go get something done. I do have to say, this fits pretty well. I spaced it out far enough that it doesn't interfere with any of the stake pockets or the tie downs. So clear the trailer. It's pretty even with the edge of the tire. So it might be a smidge over, but that's comparable. That's 100%. I can work with that. So all in all, I'm pretty happy how this fits. So now let me just get this. I need to put this back in the shop. And I got to weld some eyelets on in order to strap this down so it doesn't come out. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. So tell you what, let's get this back in the shop and we'll get back to it. All right, I got the trailer back in the shop, and now I have to do something to secure this in place. And and really doesn't have to be as substantial as you think, because those forks have so much friction in there. I mean, it's hard to pull. So with all that, the biggest thing that will cause this to come out if it was not tied down is just the vibration. It would vibrate out with the bumps and all that. So all we're gonna do is put something, have a little tension. And you know, I had some eyes designed for some other project. If you look at the video I have on the dump bed of my dump bed insert, it's probably where you'll see this. So the whole idea is I'm gonna put one here, I'm gonna put one over here, so you can just hook a ratchet strap. And the idea is you can keep the idea is you're going to keep the ratchet strap on the smooth part of this square tubing, so it won't cut it. So that's the idea. That's what I'm looking at doing. Or I mean, I'll put the two eyes in. You could run one strap, or you could run two, whichever your pleasure is. So anyways, so all right, well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and put those on. I'm gonna mark where they're gonna go. Then I gotta pull this thing out some, take the powder coating off, weld them on, and paint them, and that should finish this aspect of the trailer up. So all right, let's get to it. All right, I got the tie downs. I got the tie down rings for the fork assembly. So let's slide it back into place and strap it down. And I gotta tell you, I really like these tailless ratchet straps. Pretty nice. Alright, that ain't going nowhere. So, like I said, I like that. Like I said, because this nylon strap has the nice curved edges, nice solid hooks. And if you decided that you wanted to put two ratchet straps, there's any number of ways you can attach to this. So, but anyways, this is looking good. I think we're gonna chalk this up as done. Well, the fork mount is finished on the tilting trailer. That turned out very well. I'm very happy with that. Once again, I think the owner of the trailer is going to be happy with that as well. So, but anyways, that is going to be the end of this video. So I do have one more video coming on this trailer. So if you want to see that video, please hit the subscribe button, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I do want to for everybody who watches and subscribes, I really want to say thank you. You are the reason why I'm doing these videos. So but anyways, until the next time, be creative.